In this week's Post-Executive Council media briefing, reporting to the media were the Secretary and Assistant Secretary in the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment, and the Secretary for Tourism and Transportation.
As the Assistant Secretary in charge of Marine Resources and Fisheries, I just want to do a short briefing with you all this evening on what has been happening in that area of the Agriculture Department. And in light of the challenges that we faced recently with respect to fishermen lost at sea, search operation in place, unable to zero in on that situation in a reasonable time, what we are proposing at the Fisheries Department to assist these fisher folks is the very set fishing facilities that are strategically located in the fishing areas, to use these facilities also as a communication and command center to collaborate with entities such as the TEMA, the Coast Guard, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in times of these emergencies. The Fisheries Department will be putting into place a communication network. So at all times, there must be a certain amount of communication between the fishermen at sea and the department inland. There are simple things that we can put in place to avoid some of these situations. For example, the use of GPS system, wireless radio systems, even color codes with respect to making things easily seen. For example, these fluorescent colors will allow you to see things from a mile away. So a fisherman being lost at sea, his vessels or himself will be able to be located in a shorter period of time. Which brings to the forefront the aspect of training. The Fisheries Department will be now embarking on the re-institution of the Boku Training School to train not just only the fisher folks in Tobago, but also the members of the Fisheries Department. And we will be collaborating with departments like the NGC, the IMA, Maritime, FITCOT, the All Tobago Fisher Folks Association, Coast Guard, TNT Coast Guard, in putting into place a training workshop to have these men and women trained in proper seamanship, modernized fishing techniques, safety at sea, and navigation. We foresee that the implementation of a system like this to have that close relationship with the fisher folks and the Fisheries Department and also other stakeholders involving in patrolling our waters, preserving our marine resources in Tobago. We see it as a very, very important issue at this time. Also, one final thing I want to comment on is the fishing tournament that was held on the 12th and 13th of June. It was a success based on the involvement, that closer involvement with the Fisheries Department and the fisher folks. What we have is, we have seen the largest turnout ever, 70 boats participating in this competition, as in compared to last year where it was 54. And we had 5 landing sites where the fish caught were weighed. A total amount of 7,457 pounds of fish was caught totally within that 2-day period at the 5 landing sites. So I want to, at this time, congratulate the fisher folks and the Department of Fisheries for that event that went incident-free. There were no serious incidents to report or anything like that. No one was hurt, no one was injured, no vessel was damaged or anything like that. And we had 2 days of a wonderful fishing tournament, which also brings to the end of that type of fishing tournament. What we are going to have now to foster a more closely relationship with the fisher folks and the initiatives that the Fisheries Department is going to put in place, we have seen that necessity to have engaged fisher folks now in an all-year-round challenges, ending up with the fishing tournament. So at present, the fishing committee are looking into rules, regulation, programs that we can put in place to have these fisher folks partake of during the entire year, and then it will have the grand commemoration of the 2-day fishing tournament.
We have at the Blemen and Study Park sheep farm a disease that is plaguing the sheep in those areas. The disease is not, it's something that we must be concerned with. However, it is not as dreaded as it may seem to be. After consultation with our technocrats, the vets, they would have indicated to us that they were treating with the issue at hand, and that we will suspend sales of animals from those 2 areas until further notice. The disease does not create an atmosphere or position whereby we have to take the animals down. The disease has manifested itself in Trinidad and other parts of the Caribbean. However, the first time it is coming to our shores. This disease will, as we treat with this disease, it is expected that we should and would be able to bring back the stock into a healthy position. Let me also talk to a farmers' consultation that was held by the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing, and the Environment. This consultation would have taken us throughout the length and breadth of Tobago. As a matter of fact, we would have dealt with 8 agricultural districts, from Charlottesville to Bethel, Roxborough, Plymouth, Belgarden, Runnymede, Goldsboro, and Mount St. George. This was all aimed at gaining concerns and suggestions coming from the farming community. And with that, with those information, it would have aided us in developing our strategic move forward as we lead to food security for Tobago. most of the feedback that were mentioned by the farmers on our visits were in the area of the tractor pool service for land preparation. They also mentioned that they will need more planting material, land tenure, control of pests and diseases, access roads, and insufficient livestock for breeding. They also mentioned the access to water for irrigation purposes and the increased advice, technical advice, and expertise coming out of the division. The area of incentives, greater incentives were mentioned, and the feed subsidy for animals. These matters will form as a guide to our formulation of the more strategic moves towards the agro sector in Tobago. I want to also talk to a situation whereby I led a team comprising policymakers, technocrats, and practitioners selected by the Tobago House of Assembly on a 7-day exploratory mission to Guadeloupe. The mission had a general mandate coming out of the Tobago House of Assembly. And the main objectives were to develop relationships which will foster best practice and the sharing of expertise. We are also asked to engage in the development of train local artisans in the area of arts and craft, and that will include the business aspect of it also. Also to foster cultural exchanges where we will join with the city of St. Anne's in Guadeloupe to see how best we can treat with the best way in which we can develop our cultural activities here. We also had to engage in developing the potential marketing opportunities to gain entry into the French market, and to establish relationship with trade and manufacturing organizations to the mutual benefit of both islands, Tobago and Guadeloupe. We were able to visit and meet with various organizations to talk over ways and means which we can collaborate. And this gave us the opportunity through the government agencies in Guadeloupe to view their cassava processing factory, a sugarcane factory, a cocoa house where they produce cocoa, and where they produce chocolate. The coffee museum. We also were able to visit the night market, a simple event, but very, very, very effective. We were also in a position to be at an art exhibition, call it the Jardine Exposition. That exposition gave us an opportunity to really look at things in depth, all different types of craft, all different types of things that they had there on exhibit. And we were able to partake in the official opening of the exposition, and having news conferences organized, arranged by the people out at Guadeloupe, so that they can get a better idea as to why we were in Guadeloupe. In Guadeloupe, we did have some meetings with the Chamber of Agriculture, where we talked to a lot of things as it relates to agriculture. We talked to horticulture, and this is something that is very significant because the types of plants that they do export to France and other parts of Europe is found right here in Tobago, up in the forested areas, many of them. And against that background, I'm thinking very strongly to, as a matter of fact, I'm organizing a meeting with the Horticulture Society and people who deals with that area of producing flowers, so that we can at least make this thing viable, bring this thing back. You know, we like lovely things here. And I am sure that there are people out there who want to join in ensuring that we have that market, that horticulture market back on stream.
I am pleased to announce that the Division of Tourism and Transportation and Virgin Holidays Limited has entered into a new strategic services agreement that will cover the winter period 2013 to 2014. This agreement is for 2 double job flights per week to Tobago, and this arrangement will benefit Tobago from 266 seats per week over the 20-week period, which will run from November 1st, 2013 to March 28th, 2014. And so what we can expect from this arrangement is that 5,320 seats will become available to the destination, and more so, open up endless opportunities for visitor arrivals to our shores. I want to say also that in the past, Virgin Atlantic has made a significant contribution to Tobago's tourism industry, contributing as much as 25% to Tobago's international tourist arrivals, and also it was the leading aircraft in bringing high-end tourists or high-end visitors to our shores. In the area of cruise, I also want to mention that the cruise sector is a major component of the local tourism industry, And over the years, the majority of calls that would have emanated would have come from North American destinations or North American countries. And so the Division of Tourism and Transportation has recognized that over the last year or so, we have been experiencing declines, and more so, we have been experiencing challenges. And so the European market presents an opportunity for us. We have recognized that as a destination, we need to also reach out to other areas. And currently, our research tells us that the European market is growing, is one of the fastest growing sectors, and the Division of Tourism and Transportation will be capitalizing on that opportunity. And so we will be sending out a team in the month of July to have meetings with key executives with the purpose of ensuring that Tobago as a destination can be included in their itineraries. And of course, this is in keeping with our objective to position Tobago as a year-round port of call. And so the Division of Tourism and Transportation will be taking a very aggressive approach in ensuring that Tobago becomes that year-round port of call. The division has also renewed its platinum membership with FCCA, otherwise known as the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, and we will be in the not-so-distant future having discussions with them with a view to providing training for service providers. In other matters pertaining to the Division of Tourism and Transportation, I would also like to announce the new appointment of board members to the Pigeon Point Heritage Park, and those members will also be responsible for the management of the Store Bay Beach facility. So what we have done basically, we have extended the scope. Initially, it was the management of the Pigeon Point Heritage Park. We are also now including the Store Bay Beach facility. There are 7 members who have been appointed, and of course, they will be managed by a chairman, Mr. Ronald Celestine, and that board will take effect from July 21st, 2013 for a period of 2 years. In other matters, we have the recently concluded Dragon Boat competition, and I must say congratulations to all winners and participants of the 3rd annual Dragon Boat Festival hosted by the Division of Tourism and Transportation in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Dragon Boat Federation. And we see the Dragon Boat Festival as an important element of our sport tourism calendar. And that festival has, for this year, attracted over 22 teams, both from Trinidad and Tobago. Those who have come in from our domestic market have stayed in Tobago for 3 or more days at our hotels and guest houses. And it is one of the festivals that we will continue to support. I would have given my commitment at the ceremony when I launched or opened the ceremony rather, that the Division of Tourism and Transportation and the Sport Tourism Committee will work hand in hand with the Dragon Boat Federation to ensure that this product is well resourced and that it continues to remain one of the activities on the agenda. I would also want to speak on the Tobago Culinary Festival, which takes place this weekend at the famous Pigeon Point Heritage Park. The format basically remains unchanged, where we will see both local and international cuisine on display. And of course, we will have different competitions for vying for the coveted first prize. We have representation from different secondary schools. We have the Iron Chef competition. And most importantly, we have the mystery basket competition. And must I remind you that this is in an effort to create destination awareness. It's in an effort to ensure that our cultural tourism initiatives are well represented, and we have been marketing this particular product domestically and internationally with the aim of having visitors come to experience our culinary hand, so to speak. I also want to speak about the airport and to place on record that we in the Division of Tourism and Transportation, and I'm sure I can speak for the stakeholders as well, and even all of Tobago, that we are very disappointed at the slow pace of upgrades taking place at the ANR International Airport. At the launch of the Debt Restructuring Investment Program, one of the things that we agreed to, and that would have been the Minister of Tourism, it was alluded to by the Minister of Tobago Development, and I made the call that we must have more collaboration, especially in the area of moving tourism forward. And basically all of them agreed. And some time before, in meeting with the Minister of Tourism, he had indicated that and even the Airports Authority Board would have indicated that the upgrades work to the airport would have started sometime in the month of March 2013. And that would have included, amongst other things, the fixing of the leaking of the roof. It would have addressed the issue of the expansion in terms of the check-in areas, and we would have seen a complete renovation and even expansion to the business lounge that takes into consideration the high-end tourist or visitors to this particular island. To date, there is no visible evidence of any work taking place. And this is after a commitment of having work started in the month of March 2013. And so based on the discussions that we would have had and even the calls for more collaboration coming out from the investment launch, I am making an appeal to the Minister of Tobago Development and the Minister of Tourism to have discussions, hold discussions with their counterparts, in particular the Minister of Works and Transportation, to address the long and outstanding issue of fixing the international airport.
Thank you for tuning in to another Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council media briefing for the week ending June 22nd, 2013.